Integrating AI into the lives of everyday consumers is something the world's largest retailer is heavily investing in. Walmart is all in on generative AI, agentic tools, and automation. And when you operate at Walmart scale, AI isn't just a side project. It's a core strategy for reinventing retail. To talk more about the company's ambitious AI rollout, please welcome Walmart Global Tech India Senior Vice President and Country Head Balu Chaturvedula and Fortune's Andrew Nuska.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. Balu, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's level set about Walmart. Walmart is huge, huge. It is the #1 on our Fortune 500 list that we do. It has been #1 for 13 years in a row, and it has been #1 18 times over the years. So when we're talking about scale, Walmart scale is on another planet. So Balu, first off, we have a very diverse geographical group in the audience and watching. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what Walmart does and doesn't do in India?
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me here.
Sure.
Walmart has primarily like the 3 entities in India. I think one is a sourcing event. We have a lot of sourcing commitments, and we work very closely with local suppliers and sellers. And we actually have a big technology arm, which is what I represent. And we also have some significant partnership that focuses on retail, e-commerce retail primarily. And specifically talking about the Global Technology Organization, I mean, it started in 2008 with a small footprint. Today, we are a significantly sized organization. We work on pretty much everything to anything in retail life cycle, whether we're talking about merchandising, whether we talk about supply chain, whether we're talking about inventory flows, or whether we talk about store experience or customer experience. You name the particular aspect of experience that touches customers, partners, I think we work on that. We don't differentiate on locations. Just India happens to have one location. I think that's how we evolved. Work on wide varieties of problems. Again, we also focus on building products with platform mindset along with the innovation at the core.
Right.
We partner with local startup companies significantly. We also partner and co-create with the local academia. So it's a great buzzing story, I would say, Walmart Global Tech in India, and it's been a fabulous journey.
So just again, because scale is the name of the game today, you have about how many folks in your organization?
I think numbers apart, but I think give or take, we are about a half size of the equivalent of the technology organization, but focusing mostly on impact and aspect of every part of the retail. I think that's how we like to be measured more than just the size of the number.
Understood. And a very crucial detail for those who are unfamiliar with the Indian market, no retail stores.
We don't have retail stores at all.
There is not a Walmart retail store in all of India. Yeah. Why?
I think we have different strategy for different markets. I think Walmart has been very intentional about it. I think in India, for us, the retail is all about partnership. But I think more importantly, the most significant investment that Walmart made in India is about how do we nurture the talent and probably leverage the talent that we have to actually serve the worldwide customers across multiple international markets.
Yeah.
That's what we've been looking for.
And we'll talk about talent in a second, but another major investment that Walmart made, of course, is in Flipkart. That is not part of your remit, correct?
Yeah, so it's an independent organization, and I'm probably not the best person to represent them.
Sure.
But I'm sure it's definitely an independent organization.
So let's talk about where you are implementing artificial intelligence. It's end-to-end, as you said. There are a wealth of tools that you have implemented. Some of them are internal-facing, some of them are customer-facing. Can you tell us a little bit about them, and crucially, what are you trying to achieve with them?
Yeah, the way we like to be known as, or rather the way we actually look at AI is everywhere in our entire technology organization. We are actually trying to focus on 3 important things, right? Speed, scale, and impact.
Yeah.
And while speed is extremely important, we are also trying to do that with intelligence and with a purpose. I think purposeful technology is how we would like to be known as. We started, I mean, we've been in the industry for a very long time for traditional AI. And we have used traditional AI for every aspect of the retail, right? You name it, I think we've used it predominantly. And we made good progress in that direction.
And we're talking about things like inventory management, we're talking about things like load management, just all of the end-to-end
Absolutely,
experience.
I mean, even taking that stretching further, right? We also do incoming quality assessments, right? Like for supply chain product, like fresh produce. We build factory production units to actually take deep images using the computer visioning. We can actually talk about, what's the grading of each of the produce that comes into our supply chain network. Because perishable always is a very interesting challenge compared to general merchandise.
Right.
So that's always been the case on the traditional AI. Then we moved on to took the journey into the generative AI. I think we are probably, I would say, one of the early adopters of generative AI. I would say we've launched about a couple of years ago, we've launched our search experience, which is again a completely different type of experience that we've launched using generative AI. We are in the middle of adopting into agentic AI. We are very well poised about that, and I'm happy to talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, why don't we? I mean, agentic AI, very compelling for so many businesses, very obvious where you might want to put that in a retail organization. But nevertheless, why don't you tell us, when you started playing with agentic, what was the first place you wanted to apply it?
Absolutely. I think one of the experiments that we learned is that generative AI and prompt engineering, however we look at it, I think it has gotten us into a nice segue into assistive agents, and now we are talking about autonomous agents.
Right.
I think that's the direction that we are heading towards. Let's talk about search experience. Like a traditional search is all about, you go to a website, you want to do a 16-year-old birthday party, and you'll say that I'm looking for costumes, I'm looking for different merchandising, and you would check one at a time, items, and then you add to the basket. That's very cumbersome shopping. We have now changed all of that, where you can actually talk about, you can just go type saying that I'm planning for a 16-year-old birthday party, give me all the relevant things that I need to be, prepared for this birthday party. And then what you immediately see is that all assortment related to 16-year birthday themes, cakes, whatnot. So that's one way we are using in the search. Then let's talk about the most important advancement that we are making is Sparky. Sparky is a new shopping agent that we have launched. As the name
I just love the name, Sparky. Yeah.
As the name suggested, I think we have been using, like if you look at traditional, you have so much product reviews.
Yeah.
And you have so much data. Before you make the instant decision on whether to buy or not, you have to consume all this information. So what we are trying to do is that we are looking at synthesizing all of these reviews and give you a snippet. And the snippet is actually based on your customer purchase preferences. It is not a generic snippet. We can customize per customer, and based on all the reviews, based on what are the aspects. If you're buying a TV, are you somebody who's more focused on speaker system, or are you somebody who's more focused on audio system or video system? I think we can give you synthesized reviews based on that. That's I call personal shopping assistant.
So we obviously shop everywhere, right? Not just at one store. And so if, let's use me as an example. If I'm in the market for a television, and there's some basic information you'll have about me. I've obviously already filled out a Walmart profile. You know where I live. You know what I've purchased before from Walmart. How much data are you able to pull outside of Walmart's actual purchases? In other words, how do you know that actually my last TV I purchased at Best Buy, not Walmart?
We partner with certain organizations, but I think we are sitting on a wealth of the data.
Yeah.
We have a lot of customer base, and I think we actually look at our own data, and we don't share our data with anyone else. And I think we actually mine our own data. We build algorithms to make sure that we understand our customers better, and that's our USP.
Yeah.
And I'll give you another example on agentic AI when we're talking about agentic AI, which is trend to product. Typically, when you see an apparel category, the trends are much faster, right? And in a typical retail supply chain or retail supply chain ecosystem, by the time you take an apparel, put it to your store, it's about 18 months is the life cycle. Yeah. By the time you give a fabrication design. But some of these trends don't last more than 6 months. What we have done is that we've used the agentic AI to predict, through the world knowledge, to predict the trend And we're actually able to reduce that cycle time from 18 months to 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
So that's a massive lead. Like, for example, now we are able to quickly predict the trend and put those products on our shelves or in e-commerce very quickly, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I think Agentic AI has been very, very pervasive.
So you've been with Walmart 10 years now, and you said Walmart's been in India, sorry, how long since?
But we started in 2008, maybe.
2008.
Yeah.
So someone do that math. Please, AI, do that math for us. You know, when Walmart was thinking about applying this capability, I won't even say technology, I'll say capability, to its organization and its processes and everything, was it focused on squeezing efficiency out of things? Was it focused on growth, right? Revenue growth? Or has that changed between those early days when you joined and now?
Yeah, great question, I would call. Let's talk about like what does retailers really want? Like retail consumers, what they want. They're looking for always.
What do customers really want?
Yeah.
All right. Let's hear it.
They're always looking for 4 things.
Yeah.
They're looking for assortment. They're looking for price. They're looking for convenience. They're looking for trust. So no matter whatever the underlying technology that you use, these 4 parameters will never change. This is the life of the retail. Now, to go back to the question about, is it always about efficiency versus, like, have you been looking at different dimension? I think it's always about serving the customers and members. I think that takes the priority and precedence. So you have to be there where the customer is going, like channel agnostic, right? Few years ago, it's offline retail and online retail. They were orthogonally different. We have made an interesting pivot, and I think we have probably established ourselves as the market leaders in omni retail. I think we now understand what it means to leverage our stores as an assets, and then we actually able to solve both online and offline customers. That has given a significant advantage. Yes, along this journey, efficiency does play part, but I think efficiency is a byproduct. It is not the fundamental thing.
A lagging indicator, not a leading one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, and I mean, you know our values, EDL, PDLC, we're always focusing on giving the best possible price for our customer. So we want to make sure that every single dollar that we save through efficiency, we put it back on the customer pocket so they have that money to shop further at Walmart. Right?
Sure.
So that's our philosophy has been.
Well, it's certainly working for a lot of dollars, which is why you're on the top of the Fortune 500.
Thank you.
I'm going to come to the audience for questions in just a minute, but I want to come back to the talent question. Look, you run a very large organization, a technology organization, at a very large enterprise that is amid massive transformation and competition with that other retail company that starts with an A. So how are you thinking about talent in India, globally, right? Because you're part of a global organization. Is there, in fact, a shortage for you? Is that an AI-specific shortage or broader technology? Just how are you thinking about things as you steer this very large ship?
Yeah. It's a multi-step journey for us. What we have done, because we were able to establish a little early in the market, and we have seen like multifold growth in terms of like the way we've established India. We actually did partnerships at academia at entry levels. So we have a very sustainable program. We actually get a couple of hundred associates every year through that particular program. So I think we get them. They go through a 6-month rigorous training. And I think half of that training is about not just about technologies, but it's also make them realize and understand what retail is all about.
Yeah.
Then, like any other company, we compete for the lateral talent in the market. That's the mid-management talent to your senior software engineers to professional software engineers. We actually are in a unique spot in India, mainly because we've established a very strong ownership and accountability model, which is basically we created some of the senior roles as global roles. Those roles don't have any location bias. They can exist in India, they can exist in US. People can actually opt to lead the teams across, sitting in anywhere of the location.
Right.
Because of that model, there's a lot more accountability and structural balance that we've created. And that actually helps us position ourselves in a much stronger, emphatic way by solving the right problems whether it is supply chain problems or merchandising problems or inventory problems, however, whatever we take it,
Sure.
and then positions us in a very, very strong manner.
So just to be clear, is there an AI talent shortage for you?
I would call, we don't see this in AI talent. Again, as I told you that we've embarked on the AI journey, I would say 7 or 8 years ago.
Right.
We are probably one of the powerhouses. We had like a lot of data science hires in India.
Yeah.
So I think we've been made structural investments, very, very, very meaningful investments in terms of talent on what they should be focusing upon. We have given them the right tools and techniques. So we don't see a shortage, but at the same time, one thing that we are actually making investors is that how do you catch up with the pace, industry space? That seems to be something that we are figuring it out, but I wouldn't call myself as like we are shortage of the talent.
Yeah, understood. All right, let's go to the audience for questions. We've got one right here. Just wait for the microphone if you don't mind. And when it reaches you, your name and who you're with, okay? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Min Suk, and I'm from MasterCard. Question on agentic AI, agentic commerce. Obviously, like the agentic AI gives a great experience within the Walmart ecosystem, but are you mindful, like the external platforms who can provide that agentic commerce experience, right? Is that sort of a threat to you, or are you mindful how to cater for that, especially for the non-loyal customers for Walmart, right? I'm pretty sure you're looking for always new customers, and they might just go to the OpenAI and search for the best products, right? So how are you thinking about that?
Yeah.
And secondly, not only just the e-commerce experience too, a little bit just delving into it, because UI UX has been always the most important thing, one of the most important things that these retailers look at. Are you thinking about it a bit differently? Like, if you can share your perspective on that, that would be great.
Great, thank you. Great question. So I think, we are at our global technology organization, we are strong believers that technology disappears into experience, right? And technology is like a means to an end. That's just definitely defining one movement, but that's not everything about it. As I talked just recently, every time somebody shops it using an app or in a physical store, they're looking for the 4 things. They're talking about assortment, price, convenience, and trust. And more importantly, the trust. As long as we use their data responsibly and make sure that we don't expose like any of the, we don't actually use the data in a compromised manner. We safeguard their interest, but actually to enhance their experience. I think that's where seems to be the key winning factor. I think we've learned that art over the years. I think we continue to accelerate on that experience. Having said that, to your next question about e-commerce, I think the trends are definitely changing big time, right? Like, there's a social trending topics, and there is other ways of like an omniverse kind of shopping. I think there are different things that happens. But the way we are looking at this is through, leveraging the agentic AI. Think about a persona-based shopping. You are a household. Your shopping patterns is entirely different from your kids' patterns versus your significant other patterns. So we want to make sure that we create through Sparky that kind of an experience, very nuanced personalization experience, actually that caters for each of the persona within a household account. I think that's where we see the shopping, and that's what we are trying to drive forward.
Thank you for your question. Let's see if there's one more. Do we have another question?
I think we have
in the house. We have one back there. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Jeremy Kahn from Fortune. I also wanted to follow up on that other question about agentic AI, and potentially it's very interesting. You said, it's about personalization, but if you have an agent that is shopping on behalf of the customer, really, and you no longer have a person that's coming to your website, maybe even also in India where you're assisting local retailers, maybe the retailers also are sending an agent out to essentially do the procurement for them, then it changes the equation. And some of those things you talked about, like assortment, it may not matter that you have the best assortment, because now you have an agent that can spend more than a day if it needs to just going and searching the entire internet, finding who can supply this for the best thing. It becomes less an advantage maybe to have such a mass scale. How are you thinking about that challenge as you go forward? The idea that you may not actually have a human coming to interact with you at all, and the expense for the agent is not the same because they're not time constrained the same way a person is.
Yeah, so this is like nothing to do with AI according to me. This is retail 101. Like I would call this as the way I look at this problem is, a retailer will be successful whenever you can deliver what the customer wants, when they want, how they want it, right? You just have to make sure that you're hitting that metric, which is we call like perfect order metric, every single time for every single order. Yes, as an impulsive buyer, I may be able to find one item. Yes, I mean, there are many other arbitrage shopping models out there in the e-commerce world, but those are not sustainable, and there's a reason for that. They're not reliable. Can you guaranteedly say that I'm able to go return it? You can't say that. Can you have a convenience like Walmart has, which is you can buy online, you can return offline, or you can buy offline, you can return online. So these collective experiences, I think it's very important. But there's also a nice intent behind your question, which is it's also equally responsible that for this to happen, the retailers, the providers, and the consumers, right? All of them have to work closely in the ecosystem. If that ecosystem doesn't pan out the way it pans out, then some of this may fizzle out too, right? So, but at the end of the day, you just have to win on the retail fundamentals. And as I said, like technology has to disappear into the experience.
Yeah, great question, Jeremy. Thank you so much. Folks, give a round of applause for Balu. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.